Howdy-ho, Andrew, aka Kelpier, aka Shadowsin here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to my next edition of Tales of Neverwinter Nights. So we finished my personal writings and we finished Drathson's writings. So we're going to go back to the very beginning of Mavralyn's collection and we're going to tell her stories. And the story, we're just going to go in order as she has presented them. And Mavralyn has the most writings out of everyone. It's her house. She set up the setting for her house. So it would make sense that she was the most prolific writer of everybody. And yeah, so we are going to go through her stories. And then, as I said, everyone else's stories as we come across them. And we'll just go in order over the next few months. So with that said, why don't we just get started to it all? Boredom by Mavralyn. Beautiful piano music filled the room of a small music parlor in the Willow Springs mansion. A sudden crash of discordant notes sent shocks through the home. "I am so bored," came a shout from within. A young servant hurried to see what was wrong with the lady of the house. Knocking politely on the closed doors, he waited for a response. Yes, come in. I won't bite, sighed the lovely lady. "What troubles you, milady?" inquired the page. "Is there anything I can do to help?" His worried tones seemed to calm her. "Nay, not unless you can bring my husband home early," she replied in soft, musical voice. Nodding in understanding, the servant quietly closed the doors and left the lady Lindara alone in her thoughts. Looking once more at the piano, she stood and aimlessly wandered about. Not really seeing anything, she mused, "Perhaps I should go visit my cousin." The thought had no more than passed through her mind when she decided that was exactly what she should do. Calling out as she left the parlor, she ordered that her horse be readied for her. A young maidservant attending to her, wringing her hands in consternation. "But, my lady, you can't go out in your condition." The concerned tones of the young lady-in-waiting fell on deaf ears. Now, my dear, I am not that far along yet. I shall be all right, and I only intend to visit my cousin. I promise to return before the month is over." The hand-wringing increased as the agitated maid once more spoke. "But, my lady, you should not travel alone. And what would his lordship say? He will return at the end of the month. Can you not wait till then for the visit?" Smiling at the girl's concern, Lindara took her hands and spoke calmly. "I am visiting my cousin now, because his lordship is away and I am bored with my own company. I promise you that everything will be fine. There is peace for the moment, and the roads south are civilized." No amount of coaxing or wheedling would change her mind, now that she had decided to go. Nara was hell-bent to get there. Her horse saddled and ready awaited her in the courtyard with the groom crooning words of endearment to the mare. Another smile at the groom as she helped her mount. "Ye nae stray from the road, milady. There be many critters looking for a sweet treat like you." He frowned and continued. "Ye be careful o' the wee life within you, too." Blushing slightly at the groom's mention of her condition, she gave an embarrassed laugh. "Not you too, Geribert. Does everyone think I'm completely helpless?" Geribert chuckled. "Nay, milady, we nae think that at all. We are just concerned for ye safety is all." As the servants gathered to watch their young mistress off, she waved and lightly touched her heels to the mare's side. Within moments, she was out of sight and on her way. A meeting. As the servants gathered to watch their young mistress off, she waved and lightly touched her heels to the mare's side. Within moments, she was out of sight and on her way. It took 3 days of hard travel to finally reach the small village near the misty forest. Dusty and travel-stained, Nara rode into the courtyard of her cousin's home. Although it had been rough, she had felt exhilarated rather than tired after her journey. A groom came running to help her down as her cousin stepped from the front doors. "Eve, I am so happy to see you again," Nara exclaimed. They exchanged hugs and arm in arm they entered the manor together, chatting and laughing. Eve had a servant show Nara her room so that she could freshen up after a long trip. Afterwards, the two cousins spent the rest of the day catching up on old and new gossip. That night, although weary and happy at Seeing her cousin again, Nara could not sleep. She decided to take a walk in a nearby forest, hoping a stroll would tire her. Quietly, she left the manor and headed down a path that led to the peaceful woods. Lost in thought, Nara at first did not notice she had entered a large clearing lit by moonlight. A cruel-sounding laugh brought her sharply to attention, causing adrenaline to rush through her body. Looking up, she saw an exquisite-looking dark elf. The female drow was standing in the center as she waited for Nara. At last, 2 key pawns draw close, the drow said enigmatically. With slight trace of fear, Nara asked what the drowess meant. "'Tis not for pawns to know, my dear," she chuckled with evil intent. "They exist only for our pleasure." And with this last mysterious statement, the drow elf drew closer and her body started to change. A strange language flowed from the changing figure, and Lindara found she could not move. With revulsion in her eyes, she saw a giant glossy black spider squatting over her. Its cold, harsh tones echoed in her mind. "I see within you one that will belong to me." Struggling fiercely against the magical bonds, Nara could only watch in horror as the spider shape seemed to shimmer, glowing amorphous. Then a shudder of revulsion and terror overcame her as this shape flowed into her body, taking control of her movements. She could only watch on with increasing terror as she screamed her denials from some small part of her mind. The pawns. The powerful evil force looked deep within her body and mind. Ripping through natural barriers, the entity seemed to disturb her very soul. From some small hidden part of her mind, Nara saw the demon hovering over 2 separate sparks of life that nestled in her womb. "There are 2, she thought. "Twins!" as it reached out, touching one. That spark seemed to darken for a moment. Then it started glowing, strong with life. "This one shall be mine." Again that cold, cruel tone echoed in her mind. As if from a distance, Nara felt her body move. The powerful darkness that had entered her controlled the movements. She heard herself speak words of summoning, and a gateway opened. Out stepped several demons that saw her and knelt at her feet. Again she heard herself speak in a language she did not understand. Apparently the demons did, because they rose and circled her body as if to attack. Then the being who used her body screamed in false terror. Loud and piercing, it seemed to rip through the peaceful forest like a knife. Theodore awoke in the sound of the scream. Sitting up, he grabbed his sword and listened. There, the sound came from the west of his camp. Quickly grabbing his armor and donning it, he headed westward. Nearing a small clearing, he heard the sounds of the battle before he could see anything. Stepping through the trees, he saw a woman surrounded by huge, dull, red bodies, twisted and warped in shape. What in blazes are they? He thought. The woman struggled to hold them at bay with her magic. She appeared to weaken with each spell cast. As he moved forward to gain a better view of the situation, his foot came down on a small dry branch. At the sound, the creatures turned. Their eyes blazed with evil fire when they saw him. The lady also turned to look. Exhaustion showed on her lovely features. Seeing a very young man, just barely in his teens, she cried out a warning. At first, there was only terror in his eyes when he realized the monsters he faced were demons. Then a calm came over him, as he seemed to relax into the fighting stance of a trained soldier. From her tiny spot within her own mind, Nara heard the demoness speaking to the boy mentally. They can be killed there, Terrio, though only their physical forms will die. Help me, and I shall give thee a gift ye shall always have need of. This mind voice was completely different from the cold and evil tone she had heard inside her own head. Theodore looked towards the lady and asked, If I can help thee, I do not need a reward. But how can I alone hope to defeat these creatures? Again the dark entity mind spoke in a soft musical voice. Ye are not alone, Theodore, for I am with thee. His sword became a blade of pure energy as he moved towards to engage the demons in battle. The blade seemed an extension of Theodore as he danced in and out among the supernatural creatures. Weaving and slashing, he fought for hours against them. And as each demon died, the body would disappear in a flash of smoke and flame. Finally, the last one, the largest, fell to his enchanted sword, and it too disappeared. And that's where we're going to end for today. That is the first 3 stories. It's clearly telling Mavralyn's origin story. I got to admit, I've never read these, so I'm finding these just as interesting as I hope you are. And yeah, like I said, every week I am going to read 2 to 3, depending on the size of them, stories. And we'll just go forward for next 2 to 3, 4 months. She's got quite a bit of, she's got, I'll say roughly 40 different pages, and each page has numerous stories. So yeah, there's a lot to go through, and I hope you found it interesting. So that is this week's video. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel. A like, a subscribe, and share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. Takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing, helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button on the bottom of the screen. If you're watching this on Rumble, please follow my channel. Always feel free to leave a comment. I encourage everybody to leave a comment. Please, if you have any RP stories of your own that you've written, please send them my way. And when I finish with all of Mavralyn's stuff, I will get to your stories and some of my own D&D writings that I don't have included in here. But yeah, please send them my way. You can send me a message on YouTube. You can send me a message on Rumble. You can go onto Facebook, Kelpier Dealantar, and send me a message there, and just send me your writings. And like I said, I will utilize them. And yeah, also leaving a comment really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.